Hey guys, it's time for another album reaction, another quarantine album reaction. You see, I got the quarantine mustache going on because I don't have to see my mom anytime soon, and she always makes me get rid of it. So today we're going to be we're going to be listening to an album from 1980. It's called Remain in Light, and it's by the Talking Heads. I was gonna say the famous '80s band. I'm not sure. I think they're pretty famous. I mean, I've definitely heard of them before. Yeah. So this one was recommended to me by my friend Elizabeth, and I was super excited to get to this. I actually, listened to most of the songs on the album about a week ago, and haven't had time to really sit down and do my reaction video. So I'm excited to do it now. And just as a reminder, so I listened to how many songs are on this album? 12. 12 songs. And I listened to 9 of them so far. And then the other 3 we're going to be listening to right now for the first time. I'm going to be going through them and listening to them and giving my kind of live reaction to them. So before we start, this is one of those bands, like I said, that I've heard of a million times, but I couldn't necessarily say I couldn't really pinpoint any single one of their songs. So I really was coming into this kind of clean, kind of blank, and I generally don't like '80s music, as that's a very blanket statement, but you know, I've you'll hear me describe it, but this is totally a lot cooler to me than a lot of other '80s music. So yeah, let's get into it. So again, the album is called Remain in Light, and track number 1 is called Born Under Punches. Parentheses, the heat goes on. And again, this is one I listened to before, so this was really like the first thing I heard from this album, and I thought that right off the bat, like the vibe I got was just super funky. Like, I just loved how every instrument was kind of doing its own thing, but they all really meshed well together. They kind of layered well together. Um, my first reaction about the singer was I'm not a huge fan of the singer. It's almost like he's kind of talking instead of singing. But I got over that pretty quickly because like everything else was really good in the song. The harmonies were really cool, and it just felt like they had a really good kind of chemistry going together. So that was track number 1. Track number 2 is called Cross-Eyed and Painless, and I have not listened to that one yet, so we're going to be going through that right now. I'm going to be listening to that at 1.1 speed, full disclosure, slightly sped up, so I can hopefully not have to worry about, copying any music or getting any copyright kind of strikes on my video, because that's like another 30 minutes that I have to spend recording a video. Plus, if it's not really my first time listening, it's not really a reaction either. So this is my actual first time. We're going to see if I can get past the technicality with the 1.1 speed. So anyway, this is Cross-Eyed and Painless. Again, super funky, just like super cool. More guitar in this one than I remember from the last one. And there's like the lead guitar with this thing, and there's also the kind of the almost like a descant going on, so that's cool. Nice. That's cool. Ooh, I can hear the bass too. I couldn't figure out how to do this whole recording and live reaction thing with headphones in, because I would love to listen to this with headphones because it would really bring out the bass, but I'm trying to hear it now, and you can hear it. It's really cool. That was definitely a theme of the album from what I've listened to already is the bass being really cool. I mean, it's funky music, so obviously it's going to have that, but also I remember that I'm listening to it slightly sped up, so I'm trying to take it for what it's worth, not not the 1.1 speed, but This is so cool. This is so cool. Oh, I kind of just started to kind of hear like a little cowbell or whatever is going on there. That's cool. Ooh, harmony? That's pretty cool. I also noticed on the Wikipedia page that like 1 trillion people worked on this album, so you could assume that all these harmonies and different things are not, all the same person that's just tracked differently. If you're a real Talking Heads fan, you're probably like really angry at me because I'm not listening to the song at the real speed, but I promise it's not worth the hassle if some of that copyright stuff comes up. Again, it's more of like almost like a talking rather than singing, but it does have kind of a pitch to it. I love this. I like this a lot. It's cool. Oh, we got a rap verse? And again, I could be speaking out of turn here, but I feel like this was probably really ahead of its time too. Just like really, I wouldn't say experimental because it's almost like too good to be experimental. Usually I think of experimental as like stuff that you wouldn't want to necessarily listen to for the music itself, but this is just really cool and yeah, that was a good song. Like I said, I feel like there are probably not many bands like this, especially not today, but probably at that time too. They're kind of just jamming, it's almost like when you go see a band live and they just like play like a 7 minute thing in between songs, just an instrumental. It's like kind of like that, but it's really cool. Let's see, number 3, The Great Curve. That was another, another groovy kind of funky sounding song. In that one, I think the backing vocals really stuck out to me as good in that one. Um, and then, oh yeah, it had brass too. And you know me, I always love a good bit of brass in a song, so that was cool. Number 4, track 4 is called Once in a Lifetime, and that's another one that I'm gonna be live reacting to. Everyone's all about live reactions, so that's number 4, Once in a Lifetime. Have not heard this one before, and again, unfortunately for all you diehards out there, gonna be going 1.1 speed again just for the lulls. No, I mean just to be extra safe. Okay, let's go. Talking Heads. What's the album called again? Remain in Light. Once in a Lifetime. Track 4. Let's go. Wow, okay. This is almost got like a Tron like vibe going on here. What year is Tron from? I want to look that up. 2010. Wow, I thought it was older. Oh well. Ooh, I've definitely heard this one before. Very recognizable, this part. Again, more talky kind of situation, but you know the lyrics are important, so it makes sense. He's trying to make sure that they get across. Honestly, like when I'm not looking at the camera and talking, I'm just looking at his like you can probably see it. I'm looking at this big old nose right here. As a Middle Eastern dude, I've seen a few big noses in my day, so. And if that offended anyone, whatever. It's my people, I can joke about their noses. Mediterranean noses, you know. I said there's not quite as much going on in this song as the other songs so far in terms of just the multitude of instruments and layers and stuff like that. But this one's really good from a percussion standpoint. It's a really catchy kind of like catchy beat, catchy. Again, kind of the layers of different stuff they have going on percussion wise. You get a water break listening to this sped up music. Water. Healthy. Drink it. They definitely just said water in that song. This is cool. This is cool. It's getting kind of shreddy here. I could definitely like go on a run to that song. That was cool. And I hate running, so that means a lot. That says a lot coming from me. Oh, I'll finish it. Give it 6 more seconds. Nice fade out. Cool. So that was track number 4, Once in a Lifetime. Again, I definitely heard that one before. That's a good song. Yeah, track number 5, Houses in Motion. I remember I have it written down that it had an amazing start. And then they kind of layered like I don't even know what instrument it was. If I remember correctly, it was like some sort of organ. Maybe it was an organ, some sort of fuzzy kind of sound. That was really cool, like to add on. I remember this one as well as a couple of the other songs on the album was it was a little bit repetitive, and what I mean by repetitive is not that there's anything wrong with it because it's good music, but for the song to kind of stay in like one phase, it doesn't have really like a chorus or a bridge per se. It kind of just goes, and again, that's not a bad thing. It kind of goes along with the whole jamming kind of situation that I was talking about earlier. How they're just kind of having fun and just kind of experimenting with the music. And something like number 6, track 6, which was called Seen and Not Seen, kind of the same concept for me. It was, it was kind of a similar in terms of staying kind of the same phase the whole song, but this one was really cool in that it kind of had more of like a hip hop. It almost like, if I remember correctly listening to it, I remember like kind of feeling like I was watching like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode. Like it was super like old school kind of hip hop, and something like that. A lot of these songs you could easily see like being sampled by artists today. I'm sure they have been here and there. Yeah, I mean it was cool, and the more I listened through this album, from I guess we just finished talking about track 6, I get like a Jim Morrison vibe from the lead guy. I wouldn't say lead singer, more like lead talker dude, because like very much about kind of setting the scene of the song and like telling the story of the song, which is something that Morrison, used to do really well. Track number 7, Listening Wind. Um, that one had more unique, different instruments than I had heard before on the other tracks, so that was, a welcome addition. The harmonies were good on that one too. In track 7, Listening Wind. Track 8, let's see, where are we? Track 8, which is, whatever, it's different because it's a record, but track 8 of the CD, if you will, is called The Overload. That was the trippiest song that I heard on the album up until that point. The bass line was really good, and the rest of it was very, like I said, trippy and kind of like surreal almost. It was pretty cool. I really kind of, like I said, kind of just closed my eyes and just kind of got into the zone with that song because that's kind of, I think that's what the song was kind of asking the listener to do. Track number 9 is called Fela's Riff. I remember that one being super, almost inspirational. Like I was ready to like just go into battle with that one. Um, and that was, I said this before on a few of the other tracks, but this was really the one that solidified like, wow, these guys are just jamming. They just have really good chemistry and they're just working off each other and they're just going and they're just, I can't even think of words right now. I'm so tired, but they're all, like I said, they're all very talented musicians in their own way. And even though they're playing, you know, different parts at the same time, the way it kind of all blends together and adds up just works perfectly. And this is the song that really kind of gave me that emotion when I was listening to it. Track 10, Unison. I don't remember it as a particularly memorable song other than that it had a really good drum beat, and I thought it was probably like the best percussion song on the album. Number 11 is called Double Groove. We're going to go through that one right now because that's one of the, what's it called, live reaction songs, and it's another one of the 1.1 speed songs. So let's go for that. Make sure it's on 1.1. Yep. Excuse me. Okay, this one's called Double Groove. And I also noticed that a bunch of the tracks, as I was listening to them, especially the second half of the album, was called Unfinished Outtake. It's almost like, it almost makes it even cooler. They're just, just going for it, just playing, just jamming, and just having a good time together. And maybe one of them was like, yeah, let's just put this on the album. People will enjoy it. We're being experimental, whatever. So anyway, this is one of those songs, Double Groove. Live reaction right now. Let's go. Wow, okay. Really like the start. I feel like I'm at the beach. Like a disco on the beach, I would say. And again, it's like all these different vocal parts that are really kind of random and jumbled, but they put them together like so well. Like I can't imagine how long it took them to do that so effortlessly or so smoothly. The little organ, or like the electric piano. Cool. Can't stop touching this thing. It's like a freaking caterpillar here. My friend Elizabeth, I can tell why this is your favorite album of all time, or what you kind of said is one of your favorite albums of all time, because I could not see like a bad time, like a bad mood or a bad time to listen to this album. It's so low maintenance. You just put it on and you kind of just groove to it. It's not too emotionally committing. You're not like listening to lyrics that are going to make you cry or anything. It's just good music. I'll tell you again, the only slight negative I would have is you can tell in a song like this, especially as like the unfinished outtake, that it's kind of just the same thing the whole time. But again, there's beauty in that too. That's what makes it so easy to listen to because it's just reliable, just cool. It's just cool. Don't know why it's called what it is, but I'll take it. Again, I'm like super impressed with the way that they kind of just throw different like vocal sounds in there and they just put them together so perfectly. I've been doing like a little bit of, I wouldn't even say audio editing because I'm not that advanced, but I've been doing a little bit of like recording multiple tracks and putting them on top of each other, and it's literally so hard to do. So, you know, huge respect to these whoever produced this album or whatever team produced this album, because it's really like a work of art if you look at it from the musical kind of, from the structural side. I would say it's really, really cool. All this music is really exemplary of like how to just put so many different tracks of different types of sounds together to sound good. And I'm sure the band themselves had, you know, plenty to do with that too. But the producers really had to kind of tie it up. Nice, super cool. Super cool, super cool. Okay, that was track 11, Double Groove. The last song on the album is called Right Start. I thought that was a really good way to end the album, as, you know, actually all of my reaction videos so far have been albums. Obviously, they're people's favorite albums of all time, but always ends really well, and this was no exception. The song called Right Start, which is the way this album ended, I thought it was a great kind of jam to end with, and it was like a really good, like again, a really good way to kind of summarize what the album had been. It's just kind of a lot of musicians doing things together really well with really good chemistry, and I thought the organ riff on this song was kind of put a nice accent on the song, accentuated it nicely. I thought it was like cool how it kind of cut off abruptly, at the end, which was cool. Overall, I think that's pretty much the album so far. So overall, I think it was definitely a different type of music than I'm used to listening to, but at the same time, like I said, when we were just listening to that previous song, like very easy listening in the sense that no matter what, you're gonna enjoy listening to this. Like, the music is complex, but not so much that it's distracting. It's formulaic in the sense that it doesn't grow or fall too much, but it's just really good for what it is. And I found myself kind of bobbing my head and, you know, just jamming out internally to pretty much every single song on the album. So I have Elizabeth to thank for this recommendation because, you know, I had a really good time listening to these songs. So yeah, that pretty much does it. This kind of went longer than the other ones, but I had a lot more to say about this album for some reason. And I definitely, you know, the Talking Heads definitely have a new fan and new advocate in me that I hadn't, you know, didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. And I'm really glad I listened to this album because it was really, really fun. Yeah, so that's it. I hope everyone has a great rest of quarantine. Let your facial hair grow out. Do whatever you want. Let your leg hair grow out if you're a girl. Like, who cares? So, yeah. All right. See you guys later.